What up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Dugout Dispatch with Tyler Edmonds. Everybody over here, to my left, to your left, or your right. You know, you do the hokey pokey,
I don't know
turn
what to do
around.
with my hands.
Don't know what to do with my hands. I'm Steve Jewell, Tyler Edmonds, co-host of Cubs on Tap. Make sure you check out that show for all you diehard Cub fans like us. And I'm with you on the Waterboys college football show. But Tyler, this offseason, man, it just keeps heating up with drama, the collective bargaining agreement lingering around at the end of next season, trade rumors, free agents, who's going where, who's doing what, who's getting hired, who's getting fired. But I think one of the biggest news going on in the past couple of days is some betting stuff that's been going on with some players with the Cleveland Guardians. So we're going to talk about it right out of the gate right now. I'm going to pull it up. Prosecutors allege that Luis Ortiz was paid $5,000 for throwing an intentional ball on June 15th, 2025, and Emanuel Clase was also given an additional $5,000 for facilitating it. They did it again, it says, on June 27th, which the respective payments increasing to $7,000 on that occasion. Clase and Ortiz could face up to 65 years in prison if convicted on all charges, per Jeff Passan. This post came out on X through Talking Baseball. And, wow, didn't expect to get into some craziness like this offseason. Of course, I remember saying last year, going into the trade deadline, or even last year's offseason, you know, how I was kind of pulling for maybe the Cubs picking up Emanuel Clase. He'd be a great addition to have. I mean, shoot, which team wouldn't like a pitcher like Emanuel Clase and his stats? And then all of this stuff started to trickle out this past season, and we were kind of talking about it, you know, a little bit off air before we started recording. But I just remember for the first time seeing that you could bet on the first pitch if it was going to be a ball or a strike. And I remember thinking to myself at the time, like, oh boy, I wonder if this could cause potential issues in the future. And here we are. So, you know, I think baseball has been in such a better spot the past couple of years as far as like rising back up to the top in popularity among sports fans. So many great athletes are in the game of baseball now that's bringing so much attention back to the game. You know, viewership's increasing over the past couple of years, and then something like this happens. And I think it's going to start proposing the question, you know, is sports betting hurting the sport? What do you think?
Well, it's crazy because we heard about Emanuel Clase last season and, you know, gets suspended. He's on like the restriction list or whatever it is. And it's like, oh man, that's crazy. But I didn't expect it to be, I didn't expect it to be like a huge talking point this offseason. But
Right.
As far as it affecting the sport, yeah, man. In my opinion, this affects the integrity and the authenticity of the game more than PED users. It does, and we can go a whole episode on PEDs and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, yeah, you purposefully. It's like they're purposefully Emanuel Clase, Luis Ortiz purposefully affected the games, the outcomes of the games. I know it's just one pitch, which personally, I think it's more than one pitch. And I think if you look back into the indictment case, I want to say in one of the indictments, what does it say here? Somewhere around here.
Here's one through Talking Baseball that Emanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz have been indicted on charges related to a scheme to rig bets. Luis Ortiz has been arrested.
I mean, since
Clase
2003, like just part of the indictment, it alleges that Clase sent money for others to bet on his own pitches in some cases and recruited Ortiz to join the scheme in June of 25. And
Yeah.
there was another part I read that like several bettors placed multiple bets on so many different pitches. And so I just have a hard time believing that it was all over just $12,000 each. When you've
Right.
got Clase that's on like a $20 million contract. I know Luis Ortiz hasn't made that much. I think he's made like 2 million, which I say that's not a much, not that much, but not that much in the baseball world. But
Right.
dude, I just feel like this is just, as much as I hate to say it, I feel like this is just a small piece of
What's
what could be
potentially to
of
come.
what's potentially to come. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it just sucks. It really sucks because like I said, you affect the integrity of the game, the authenticity, and just right on the heels of a potential lockout at the end of the 2026 season. This gives another fans just to be like, screw this. I ain't watching this crap. It's all rigged. We all talk about, oh, the football's rigged. And you just have the stuff going on in the NBA and Chauncey Billups getting arrested and all that. And it makes fans, when you see stuff like this, it makes fans question even more. Wow, is this really rigged? How rigged is
Right.
this?
Absolutely. This came out through The Athletic on Sunday. Emmanuel Clase and fellow Guardian pitcher Luis Ortiz were charged with wire fraud and several counts of conspiracy in a pitch speed scheme. An indictment revealed numerous text calls and money trails that connect the pitchers with several bettors. It says better one placed about a 16 parlay bets in which one leg of each parlay included 8 specific Clase pitches. That would be a ball for an HBP. The bettor was successful on all but one of the 8, only because the batter swung and missed on a pitch outside of the strike zone. So I'm sure more information is going to be coming out in
It's crazy
days to
because
come.
like you look at Clase. I take the 24 playoffs, for example, when he got beat by the Yankees.
Yeah.
And I want to say it was the game. I don't remember. It was in Cleveland, I'm pretty sure, when he gave up back-to-back home runs to Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. He ended up, I think he took the loss that night. And I remember that night on his Instagram story was a video of him like showing off all his awards and trophies and stuff like that, basically trying to say like, you guys can talk crap about me, but I'm still good. Look at this. And then Sunday night, I kind of got a little excited Sunday night because Sunday night on his Instagram story, he did a similar thing. He had an Instagram video of some of the rings that he's won in the past. And I know it was in Spanish, but it translated to "We talk tomorrow." And it just makes me wonder if eventually he's gonna come out and just say a bunch of crap. It makes me wonder if he's, who's to say he doesn't take a plea bargain or something, says, hey, look, we won't put you in prison for 65 years, maybe only, this short amount, if you spill the beans on everybody else. If whoever it is that you're working with on these bettors, if you have any more information on these bettors, as far as maybe they're talking to other guys about this, maybe they're talking to other pitchers about this, if you would spill
Yeah.
everything on that, then maybe we won't make it 65 years. It's crazy, dude. It's just crazy to think about. And again, yeah, it was a big deal when it happened in the season last year, but I did not expect this to be a major thing headed into this offseason.
I just the 65 years seem a bit aggressive, and we don't have to get too much into it, but I just naturally start to think about people, who get busted for like crazier charges
Yeah.
get less time. You know
I
what I
think
mean? Like
Oh
some
yeah,
dude
I
could
think
murder somebody or hurt
it,
somebody in a different way, and they may get like 20 or 30 years. But this guy, and I'm not defending either
yeah.
pitcher, I'm just saying 65 years
It's the
for,
same
you know,
thing when back in the early to mid 2000s, when the steroid scandal was brought to the Supreme Court, when it went that far, And again, I'm not defending
yeah,
anybody, breaking rules or anything like that, but I think that in one sense, the 65 years is probably we're making an example out of these people, and B, maybe it's one of those things where they're trying to scare them, saying, hey, we're going to give you 65 years unless you take this
Yeah.
plea agreement or something like that. Maybe something like that's involved. But dude, it's crazy because like you said earlier, I remember over on not just on Cubs on Tap, but just in the whole Cubs world, we were screaming for Emmanuel Clase on the Cubs because the Cubs were looking for a closer just 2 seasons ago, and he was on that team friendly contract. And I want to say he'd already won reliever of the year, multiple all-star teams and stuff like that. And it was just like, who wouldn't want a guy like that with 100+ mile an hour cut fastball?
Yeah.
Coming in the 9th inning. And now, could you imagine had anybody made a trade for that guy? Could you imagine just what would be going on right now with those fan bases?
Oh, the fans, the front office. How do you salvage some of that money? How do you replace that? Do you bet on the farm? You can just keep going. But yeah, I'm glad for our favorite team. We didn't pick up that
for sure.
contract.
I'll say too, I think stuff like this with the gambling, I think this is far, far worse than any player testing positive for PEDs. Now, it's 2025. I get it. Me agreeing whether or not you should be allowed to take PEDs is one thing. That's one thing. But right now, with the current rules, the way they are, it's 2025. You're an idiot if you try to do it right now and think you're not going to get caught. I agree with that, and I agree that you should be punished for that. But I think that this right here, as far as gambling and betting and manipulating the game, I think this is far more worse than anybody using PEDs, because I get it. You take PEDs, oh, they're going to make you bigger and stronger and you're going to hit all them home runs. But you still got to go out there and you still got to swing the bat. You still got to perform, put in the strikes, all that kind of stuff. You still have to perform. Just because these guys take PEDs doesn't automatically mean they're just going to, be 1,000 times. Yeah, I get it. Barry Bonds and all them, but whatever. But what Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz did, it's like you are purposefully throwing a ball. And yeah, you're purposefully manipulating the game for a monetary amount of money. You know what I'm saying? For a monetary advantage.
I agree. And this is just my personal opinion. I don't know if they deserve 65 years.
No, I don't think I wouldn't say that, but
right. They'll obviously want to make some kind of example out of them because this is something just kind of new and fresh that we're seeing in the game now that sports betting is becoming more popular. And, I can talk about it from, a fan's perspective, meaning, you don't have to go all crazy with sports betting. You got to bet responsibly. I think I like being a quote unquote chair arm investor, sports bettor, if you will. I personally just get the thrill out of seeing, did I do enough homework? Did I watch enough games? Did I watch enough tape to see if I'm right? Is it fun to hit a parlay or to hit a bet, make some money? Sure, absolutely. But I just get more thrill out of seeing if I was right. Did I do enough homework? Or even if you do enough homework, sometimes things just happen. Somebody may get hurt or there's weather to account for, X, Y, and Z. But from the players' side, it's like, dude, what are you doing, man? Like, you're already getting paid really good money. Baseball players make some of the best money out of all sports. One could argue. I don't know of anybody in the NFL that's got a Shohei Ohtani style contract making $700 million, or even if you're just making like $10 million. Like, I wouldn't want to risk that for a measly $7,000.
It would make more sense for a player to take PEDs, get their contract, sign that big contract, and then test positive. And you're suspended for a year, but you don't get paid that year, but you're still gonna get your money. Something like this is just they're done. Both of them are done, no matter what. I mean, even if they don't go to prison, even if something comes out and be like, it's like, well, I feel like it's not going to happen, but like, let's just say this was all a big misunderstanding or something like that. And it was a lot. Either way, they are done. Like, they are done with baseball forever. forever.
Yeah. And, there has to be something done, to kind of help some of this from happening in the future. And I saw this yesterday that I'll pull up that was posted
Yeah.
through Talking Baseball on X. MLB announced that it has worked with prominent sports books to cap pitching prop bets at $200. $200 is the betting limit. MLB announced that wagers on pitch level markets will be capped at 200 with the goal of mitigating the incentive to engage in misconduct. So they've put a cap on it. I guess that's good for now. We'll see what happens.
But again,
But
it's
some things
tough.
just don't make any sense. Like there's something that came out, a new law that I think that got passed a couple weeks ago, where I think it's college kids now and college athletes can bet on professional sports, where before you weren't allowed to bet on anything just to not
That's
risk a
and
chance.
honestly, stuff like that is part of the problem. When
It's like we take a couple steps forward, then fall back,
it's
a
hard,
couple
like
feet. It's
now every baseball stadium you go to, every football, every arena you go to, what's all over it? DraftKings, FanDuel, all these betting,
they've got
sponsors that
bars now,
they've
you know.
thrown in all this money, and you've got sports books everywhere, So a guy like Luis Ortiz, yeah, he's made $2 million, but in his baseball career, but he's probably also he's probably also looking at it as, hey, here's possibly my opportunity to make a little more money. And so the temptation to do it is there. Not that I agree with it, but again, that's why I wouldn't be shocked if this isn't the only story like this that we see the next few years, especially with these younger players. And going on to the 26 at the end of the 26th season with a potential lockout, players looking for a Luis Ortiz looking to make, even that's why I feel like there's more than $12,000 involved. I feel like it has
I
to
mean,
be more
there
than twelve
has to
thousand
be.
dollars. Has to be that.
But at the
Maybe
same
it pays
time,
out,
I
maybe it
can't help to
doesn't.
think, like, if you're a professional athlete, and I don't care if you're just a dude riding the bench in the dugout, you know, you can find branding opportunities. You can find you can hustle within and it still be ethical, right? Whether it's like giving paid appearances, paid speeches, picking up brand deals, maybe with a shoe company, a coffee company, a golf clothing company, something with Rollins. Like, I don't know. If you can figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't know, mow yards on the off season if you need $5,000 that
Cut the
way.
grass for the stadium you're playing at.
Yeah, I mean, you ain't going to get 65 years potentially in the pen by mowing yards. I mean, shoot, but
Yeah.
you can figure something else out. But I get it, the temptation,
It's
that's the
crazy
biggest
though.
thing.
Yeah.
But
It's crazy. It'll
we'll
be
see what
interesting to
happens,
see.
man.
Yeah. Well,
I think
interesting
there's
to see
going
what
to be
happens
more things that'll happen, more stricter things to come, I would assume,
for sure.
going into this off season, because it's not going away. It's not like they're going to take sports betting away. Obviously, there's too much money being made off of it, too much money that it's bringing in to sports and cities and teams and fans and just everything
Yeah.
that has to entail with it. But moving right along, they have announced the AL and the NL Rookie of the Year, and we'll start with the AL. Nick Kurtz. I mean, I don't even know if it felt like it was close, like anybody else
No.
was doing it. Nick
The
Kurtz
only
is the AL Rookie of the Year from the what do we say now? Sacramento A's, right? Until they're the Las Vegas Athletics.
I guess, yeah, Sacramento A's. But yeah, like you said, it wasn't the only player that ever even came close was his teammate Jacob Wilson at the beginning of the season, who
Yeah.
was just couldn't strike out, was constantly on base, and then Nick Kurtz gets called up, and in 117 games, launches 36 homers, 86 RBIs, and a 1 OPS again in just 117 games, which is impressive. And I remember, I mean, what did it for me as far as with Kurtz is, what was it, that game against Houston when he hit 4 home runs and freaking
Yeah.
almost hit 5. The fifth one, I
Insane.
mean, it hit the wall. Would have been 5 home runs. But yeah, very, very impressive. Awesome to see. I love it for him. And I love it for the A's, not necessarily the A's front office, but like the A's fans and everything, because after what they've gone through with leaving Oakland and stuff, it would be easy for them just to be pissed off about the future. But a guy like Kurtz, doing what he did this past season it's a positive. It's a positive for them looking to the future.
Yeah, I mean they got some studs with Kurtz, the Wilson kid, J.P. Spears,
Lawrence Butler,
the other Max
Shea Langelier. Oh yeah, the other Max Muncy. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing that come up for the first time this past season. I was like, wait a minute. Oh, okay. We got 2 Max Muncies.
Yeah.
And what we got?
I remember at the beginning of spring training, they were comparing Kurtz to they were calling him a young Jim Thome. But when you're dang 6'5", 240 pounds, I could see that. Makes you kind of want to be like, hey, maybe our team could pick up the phone. I mean, I know that. I mean, they'd be crazy to trade him right now. But yeah, I mean, any team would love to have a Nick Kurtz batting cleanup for you at first base, putting up those kind of numbers. But yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, 100%. And I think they are slated to be in Sacramento for what, like another 2 seasons, I think, while their stadium's getting built. Is that right?
Allegedly. I will believe it. I will believe it when the stadium is finally finished in Vegas and they are actually on the field on opening day playing baseball games. That's when I'll believe it.
Yep, I'm with you. I have seen the pictures and a couple of graphics and stuff of that stadium in Vegas that they're trying to get built there, and it's going to be pretty wild to see a game there. Nice, yeah. I would love to go just to watch a game in general, despite who they're playing, but we'll see what happens. But for the NL, Drake Baldwin wins the NL Rookie of the Year from the Atlanta Braves. He's just the second Braves catcher ever to be named Rookie of the Year, finishing with a 2.74 batting average, 19 home runs, and 80 RBIs. We have mixed emotions about this one, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, good for Drake Baldwin. You had a decent season. I just feel like there was somebody else, and Cade Horton.
Preach, brother.
That should. I mean, I get it. I get it. Baldwin had the higher WAR, but Cade Horton had the bigger impact on his team. Cade Horton arguably led his team to the playoffs. Without Cade Horton, the Cubs don't make the playoffs. He had a similar second half. It wasn't exactly like Jake Arrieta's from 2015, but pretty freaking similar. But yeah, the Cubs don't make the playoffs without Cade Horton and his stretch. And again, not taking away anything Baldwin did. Good season. Yeah, the Braves still suck this year, but I just felt like Cade Horton's was better. Call me biased. I don't care, but it just was, in my opinion. And he
had like a 1.04 whip, I think, which
it was something crazy for a stretch. Yeah,
rookie. Yeah.
The best thing and I remember the start in Pittsburgh when he faced off against Paul Skeens and just absolutely shoved. That was the game that I think I want to say the Cubs actually took Paul Skeens out in like the 3rd inning possibly. But Cade Horton, like I just remember that matchup for some reason, and seeing Cade Horton and Skeens, and he showed off, man. I want to say after his first start in New York, and it wasn't terrible. After that, he took off. And again, congratulations to Drake Baldwin. I get it being a voter. It's hard trying to compare a pitcher season with a catcher season. I don't know. I couldn't tell you the list of, how many pitchers won the Rookie of the Year compared to how many hitters won the Rookie of the Year. Obviously, I'm sure the list of hitters is a lot larger than the list of pitchers. But yeah, man, I feel like that it should have been Horton hearing his name. I would say Horton hears a who, but just Horton hears his name called as the Rookie of the Year, but it just didn't happen.
You're in the right spot. Yeah, and I mean he finished second, right?
Yeah,
from my understanding. So I
Yeah,
mean, that's
it was them
promising.
two. It was them two, and the rest of it wasn't even close past them two.
Right. And I mean, that's encouraging and promising, obviously, for the
Yeah.
Cubs and for us Cubs fans.
And
And
honestly,
again,
it's encouraging. Nothing against it's encouraging for the Braves too, because the Braves, they started off on a historically bad start. I don't think they're
mhm,
going to be that bad next year. In fact, I think they're going to be one of the top. They're still going to be. I'm sure they're probably in the top 10 as far as World Series odds next year. They're going to get Chris Sale back. You're going to get a healthy Spencer Strider back. That entire offense is still there. You lost Austin Riley during the season. Now you got Baldwin coming off this season. I mean, great for the Braves too, just because, hey, look, you get a young guy like that doing stuff like that, and you add that to an already stacked lineup, and they're going to be a tough team next year for sure.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I felt like, everybody else was just catching them, with an off, having an off year this past season. I thought that a lot about the Cubs. I thought, well, can the Cubs finally win a series against them in Atlanta? This past season would have been the season to do it. But
Yep.
yeah, I think they're gonna bounce back
Oh yeah,
this coming year.
yeah, for sure.
And we'll see what happens. But yeah, again, everybody, if you want more in-depth Cub talk, make sure you check out Tyler and the boys on Cubs on Tap. They'll be talking more, I'm sure, about this off season and other things going on. And one little Cubby section here we'll end with and move on
Oh yeah.
as saw the news. Our boy Mr. Kyle Hendricks is officially retiring. I really hope that he accepts because I think he'll get offered some kind of role to be
Oh, for sure.
around
He'll
Wrigley,
be.
some kind of job marquee or something. That'd be
Oh,
awesome.
he'll definitely. I would not doubt it. He is probably going to be invited at least to Cubs convention this year, 2026, just because you got 2026 being the 10-year anniversary of the 16 team. He'll be at the stadium sometime this year. But yeah, like you said, congratulations to the professor. Here's the thing about Kyle Hendricks. Okay, that guy proved to anybody trying to make it to professional baseball, pitching as far as trying to be a pitcher, and not just professional baseball, but anywhere. You don't have to have 100+ mile an hour fastball to be successful. He proved that, especially when he was on, commanding the strike zone, throwing strikes, and keeping hitters off balanced. That's the name of the game. And he did that and people compared him a lot. I get it. He wasn't as good as Greg Maddux, but compared to Greg Maddux, fastball changeup is what and obviously, he had a curveball and stuff like that. But his fastball changeup at high 80s, maybe low
Yeah.
90s at most, kept hitters off balance. Just ask the Cardinals back in, I believe it was 2019 in May, when he threw an 81 pitch complete game shutout. And then 2016 he wins an ERA title, shoves in the playoffs, pitched in Game 7, helped
Yep.
them win a World Series. Well done to a guy that graduated from Dartmouth and looked like, I'm sure people, if you saw him on the street, you would have thought he was like a physics teacher
Yeah.
or
School teacher.
an insurance salesman or something. Would have never guessed. He's the Clark Kent. You could say he's the Clark Kent
Yeah.
of baseball, because
Kyle
you see
Hendricks,
him on the
everybody.
street.
Clark Kent of baseball.
Yeah. And funny thing, I got to talk to
Love that.
him in
I love
2023
that.
at Cubs convention.
Oh wow.
We were just joking about some stuff because Ian Happ had joked with him about playing boring golf, and Kyle Hendricks. I asked him about that, and I was like, "Yeah, Ian Happ says that you play boring golf," and Kyle Hendricks was like, "Well, that boring golf is good golf." I was like, "Hey, I get it. It's almost as boring as an 81 pitch complete game shutout against the Cardinals, right?" And
Right.
he just started laughing. And but yeah, a nice, such a genuinely nice guy. And I'm happy for him. 12
Yeah.
years, most with the Cubs. I want to say last year he played with the Angels. He had a decent stretch with the Angels during the season last year. I want to say his second half wasn't bad. And yeah, congratulations, man.
He was the last member of that 2016 World Series team to
Yeah.
lead the Cubs.
Do you remember?
Last year.
Do you remember the trade? The trade for Kyle Hendricks. Do you remember who the Cubs traded in that deal to get Kyle Hendricks? This would have been a time when the Cubs weren't doing so hot. I want to say he got
Yeah.
traded in 2000. I believe it was 2011. It's like 2010, 2011, somewhere around there. So it wasn't one of the greater seasons for the Cubs. Can you guess what popular player for the Cubs was involved in that trade that sent him to Texas? Because that's where they got Kyle Hendricks from the Rangers.
Who did we send to Texas in 2011? Let me think.
Texas was pretty good. It was July 31st, the day of the deadline. I'll give you a hint. Texas needed some pitching.
Okay, I was going to ask. It was a pitcher, not a batter, right?
Yep. It was a guy that had a funky delivery. A funny guy.
A funny guy with a funky delivery. That's a lot of pitchers. Cubs like guys like that.
I'll give you another hint. He does a very good impression of a guy that you dressed up for Halloween.
Oh, yeah, and he's a commentator on MLB Network, right?
Yep.
Crap, not DeRosa.
You're all over it.
It's gonna drive me nuts. He's got blonde hair. It's always him and Kevin Millar going back and forth in MLB Network.
You're all over it. What is
his name? That's gonna drive me. If you didn't ask me, I could have told you.
His last name. Okay, you said DeRosa. His last name starts with a D.
His last name starts with a D. This drives me horrible, dude. Or it drives me nuts. I remember faces 10 times better than I remember names.
I don't want to tell you because you're all over it. You're right at the door. You've got the door cracked open. You just got to walk in.
Him and Kevin's always going back and forth. That's going to drive me insane. Yeah, because I remember he came in towards the tail end of the Kerry Wood era, right? And he was kind of, and we traded him to Texas.
I believe from it was either the Marlins or the Reds. I always screw that one up.
Yes, I remember him even talking about it on MLB Network. I'm gonna have to cheat. Crap! Why can't I remember? He does a amazing Harry Carey impersonation.
Harry Carey impersonation.
Oh, wait a minute. No, I didn't look. I was about to look, but it's coming to me. Ryan Dempster.
Yep.
Finally.
There you go.
God, I need 2 more cups of coffee. I totally forgot about that. Ryan Dempster was in that trade.
He was. Yeah. Texas was, I want to say 2010 was. Oh, yeah. That was during because they went to the World Series in 2010, 2011. I want to say it was one of those years. But yeah, Ryan Dempster. But yeah. Congratulations, Kyle Hendricks, on a.
Is that am I right though? Is that who the Cubs got to start kind of replacing Kerry Wood with, right?
He was in the rotation, or at least he was on the team with Kerry Wood was there, Zambrano was there, Matt Clement, those kind of guys. I want to say Dempster was a closer for the Cubs first before he was a starter.
And he was at CubsCon last year. He did a lot of the.
Oh yeah, he hosts the. It's like a late night show on Friday nights. Every Friday at the first night of CubsCon, he'll host it's like a late night show type thing.
Yeah,
he'll probably be there in January.
Yep, absolutely. And
again, you can bet that Hendricks they will probably have a special day for Hendricks.
I hope so. Even a pitching coach or some kind of commentating or something. But again, guys, make sure you guys check out Cubs on Tap with Tyler Edmonds and the boys to hear all about the Cubbies, especially during this off season. While we cover baseball, they cover the Cubs. So getting in now, we'll kind of wrap up some things with some trade rumors and free agent stuff because it just keeps on and keeps on.
Hey, you called it. You called it last episode. On our prediction, right? You said Shane Bieber. You said Shane. No, you said Shane Bieber back to the Blue Jays, right?
I think that came out the next day.
Yeah, he took his. I want to say he had a player option that I think he picked up. Either he picked it up or it was a team. One way or the other, he got picked up. Yeah.
That's almost like Bo Bichette. I almost see him wanting to stay, obviously, with Toronto if they make him some kind of offer or deal. I mean, shoot, you just played in the World Series with them, and almost beat the Dodgers, win a full 7 games. So why not run it back to some degree and try to capitalize off the momentum that you had? And,
Yep.
it seemed like Shane Bieber just fit in very well there. But yeah, we got all kinds of names popping up here. Let me see. I saw that's the highest paid player. We'll get to that one in just a second. I don't think we talked about this one last episode, but the Brewers announced that Jose Quintana and Rhys Hoskins, will now be free agents after declining their mutual options.
Oh, I can totally. I mean, I don't know how Rhys Hoskins wasn't. I know he wasn't on the playoff roster because I want to say he was hurt, but
I think you're right.
Quintana had a pretty solid season. The thing about Quintana, though, I'm pretty sure he only made $4 million last year. So for a guy that is close to the end of his career, probably 2026 is going to be big for him as far as wanting to make some money. So I can totally see him, declining his mutual options in hopes to get a larger, even if it's just a 1-year deal. Just hoping to get something, at least looking at what in the $10 million range at least. But it doesn't really surprise me at all. And we're probably going to see, not just Rhys Hoskins and Jose Quintana. You're probably going to see other players, and we've seen other players decline those options, especially those options that in the smaller numbers, because they're probably looking at 26 like, hey, this is my chance to make a lot of money. But then you got guys like Trevor Story, for example, who he opted in because, one, it's a pretty good deal, and two, you look at his health history and it's like, hey, wouldn't be a bad idea to pick up my own player option. So, not shocking to see.
That's something I didn't think about too, with the dang CBA stuff coming up at the end of this coming year. And it seems like talks just keep heating up if there should be a salary cap or not. So that's going to be a big topic of discussion this whole off season and even going in to the end of 2026.
It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge for pitchers, especially like in their early 30s that are right there at just the tip of their prime, and they're coming out of a contract wanting to get a big deal. It wouldn't shock me if you see a few pitchers, and I was telling you about it. It was either last episode or the episode before. It wouldn't shock me at all to see a couple guys, like if their contract ends at the end of 26 and they're still looking for a big deal, maybe they're late 20s, early 30s. It would not surprise me if a couple of guys went to Japan in 27 just to pitch for a year, just to keep the routine of a baseball season and to show that, maybe I aged a year, but I still have it. And that would not shock me at all.
Or they go to the Savannah Bananas. Could you imagine?
Nah, that would be nuts. That would be crazy. But a guy
that the MLB goes to the Bananas.
Guy that I could see doing that. Not to turn this back into a Cubs podcast, but Shota Imanaga would not shock me at all because now a lot of teams are going to offer. Teams have now offered their qualifying offers. It wouldn't shock me if Quintana or if Imanaga picks up I believe it's a $22 million qualifying offer.
Is Kota Senga is?
I'm not sure
what his contract looks like,
but it wouldn't shock me if a guy like Imanaga picked up that 1-year deal, and then let's say there is a lockout for most of the season. It wouldn't shock me at all if he went back to like Tokyo and pitched 1 year and then came back. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
You're exactly right. Wouldn't surprise me neither. And I think it's going to affect the market this offseason. I think it's going to cause certain smaller teams to be more hesitant to spend, right? You're not going to see a team like the Chicago Cubs go out and just drop $300+ million for 8 to 10 years on a Kyle Tucker. It's not going to happen. No. With that lingering at the end of next season, the collective bargaining agreement stuff coming up, and should there be a cap, you're going to see a team that can afford to eat that money, like maybe the Dodgers would do it, or even the Yankees or something like that. So I think, two things are going to happen. You're going to see certain teams get a little bit more hesitant to spend and spend more conservatively. And you're going to maybe see players that, maybe I'd like to stay with this team I was just at last year, or I'd be interested in going to this one. But with all this coming up, and let's say if there was a cap to be put in place, maybe I'll just go get picked up by a team where I can go make some money, this last year while I still can before
Yeah, for
things
sure.
may or may not change. So, yeah, I mean, and the unfortunate thing is you're probably going to see some more great players, batters and pitchers maybe go to these teams that can afford to give them the higher dollar, even if it's just for through 2026.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
we're seeing other teams scramble, I guess, like, a lot of teams, I keep thinking about the Cubs, obviously that's our team, they're going to try to do more, I think, with trades than
Oh, yeah,
pursue agents on the
for
free
sure.
market.
Yep.
So, but when we look at some of these names on the free market right now, according to Bob Nightingale of US Today, the following players may be on the MLB trade block this
Yep.
offseason. Sorry, we'll look at the trade stuff first. Fernando Tatis Jr., Joe Ryan, and Pablo Lopez. Hunter Green from the Cincinnati Reds. I'd be ecstatic about picking him up. God, would he pitch great, I think, at Wrigley. Ketel Marte with the Diamondbacks. Jaron Duran with the Boston Red Sox. One could argue like him and Tristan Campbell is potentially their future. Sandy Alcantara with the Marlins. Christian Walker, Nolan Arenado, Freddie Peralta with the Brewers, Mackenzie Gore, Stephen Kwan, Sonny Gray with the Cardinals, Edward Cabrera, Mitch Keller, Luis Severino, and Spencer Jones. What about that list there, Jack?
I mean, it's crazy. Which I seen the stuff yesterday. I believe it came out yesterday with Ketel Marte about Arizona is pretty. I want to say they're pretty set on. At least they're interested in possibly
That.
trading
Yeah,
him.
that's insane.
Fernando Tatis Jr. I don't see why in the world the Padres would want to trade him because he's on such a team friendly deal.
Didn't he just win a Silver Slugger award,
He just
right?
won a Silver Slugger and a
Platinum glove.
platinum glove. Yeah. He's somebody that I don't think he's moving. I don't think he's leaving San Diego, especially on that contract. Unless they wanted to trade him just to rebuild the farm system, because that's what you would do with him. I don't know why in the world the Padres are going to do that. A lot of those pitchers I could see being moved just because, guys like Joe Ryan, who's on a team like Minnesota, that they're not going anywhere. Alcantara, he's coming off a season where everybody thought that he was going to be the number one trade guy at the deadline. And he kind of he surprised everybody, but in a different way. He didn't have that great of a season. And then you hear guys like you talk about Mackenzie Gore with the Nationals, and he's a guy that a lot of teams have targeted as, yeah, I would love to have that guy because he's a future ace for a team, whether it's the Nationals or somebody else. But yeah, I feel like this offseason you're going to see. Obviously, there's going to be free agent moves, but you're going to see a lot of teams try to make more trades more than anything, just to try to save as much money as they can.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when I pull this graphic back up and you look at this, according to Phillies Tailgate on X, the highest paid player at every position going into 2026. Starting pitcher Zach Wheeler at $42 million. Josh Hader $19 million. Catcher Sean Murphy $15 million. First baseman Vladdy Guerrero Jr. $40.21 million for the year. Jose Altuve $33 million. Francisco Lindor $32.47 million. We all know Steve Cohen ain't afraid to spend some money. I appreciate that. If I was a fan of the Mets, but Anthony Rendon, $38 million. Jordan Alvarez, $26.83 million. Mike Trout, man, he's almost deserves his own segment, $37.11 million. And Juan Soto, $61.87 million. If there's one
What's the
player
first
they should
thing?
make a trade for, it's Mike Trout. I'd love to
Oh,
see
for
him
sure.
win a ring for his time's up.
Which player on that list jumps out to you the most? I already got mine highlighted right now.
As far as
Just as far as names and what they're making and everything like that. Just anything. Is there anything?
obviously Juan Soto, I mean,
Oh yeah, obviously, yeah, making 20
$61.87
more,
million.
almost 20 million more.
He
I
didn't even
look at.
make the All-Star last year. He had a better performance
Oh
after
yeah,
the All-Star break.
he almost had a 40-40 season last year. He had a great season. I look at Anthony Rendon making 38 million with the Angels, and he has not played a full season. I want to say I don't think he's played a full season in the last 4 years. I feel like ever since he signed with the Angels, I mean, I don't think so. He signed with the Angels at the end of the 2019 season. That he wins the ring with the Nationals in 2019, signs there in 2020. I don't think he's played a full season with the Angels yet. That's crazy though, and he is making the most money at third base, which I feel like probably Alex Bregman is about to change that this offseason. I think he's going to get a pretty good contract at third base from somebody. But
I agree.
yeah, and also too, you said Zach Wheeler making $42 million, which what sucks for that is that dude may never pitch a baseball again. He may never throw another ball again with the because he left what was it? He left at the end of the year just before the playoffs. He had I want to say it was a blood clot in his shoulder, and which is crazy because he is so good. And he's even said this was going to be his last contract. This contract he's in right now is his last contract of his career. But it's just crazy that a guy like that just at the top of his prime and may never pitch again. It's crazy.
I agree. It is crazy to think about. And
hope he comes back.
Prayers and well wishes with him because he's good for the sport.
For sure.
Obviously, you want to see people go out how they want to go out in their careers. So, and we'll end with this, and we'll pick what team we think they'll go to because there are two guys we talked about. I think the previous episode they'll be high to watch this offseason, see where they land. And we'll start with Edwin Diaz from the New York Mets. Top 10 landing spots according to BR Walk-Off. First, we got back with the New York Mets, LA Dodgers, Atlanta Braves, Chicago Cubs, the Blue Jays, the Yankees, Baltimore Orioles, the Giants, Texas Rangers, or the Padres. I'll let you go first, Tyler. Where do you think he'll end up at?
So I'm not going to do what I did last time and say that he's going back to the team he was on, like I did with who did I do that with? Bo Bichette. I'm going. So there's a team out there. I'll just say this: they're pretty good. They are getting rid of a bunch of money this offseason from players that aren't even, for the most part, in their everyday lineup or constantly used out of their bullpen. I'm going to say, and this team showed in the playoffs that they could use a closer. He's going to the Dodgers.
La Doyas.
He's going to the Dodgers, and I get it. Everybody's going to be linked to the Dodgers, but he would be. I mean, because they showed last year, even Sasaki, like with his role in the playoffs being that closer, he showed he's going to be a starter anyways. I feel like he's eventually going to be a starter. He's going to go back to the starting rotation. Edwin Diaz, I feel like he is going to be a Dodger.
You could be right. I'm going to go with, and again, we're taking the approach that they don't sign with their respective teams they were with last year. I could see him maybe going to the Yankees because, they like taking people from the crosstown rival team.
And the Yankees could use they had Bednar. They got like three relief pitchers at the I want to say they got 3 relief pitchers at the deadline last year, and all 3 of them really didn't do so hot. You had
Devin Williams.
Bednar. Devin Williams has been shaky all season last year with them, and they got Camilo Duvall, who I thought was going to be Emanuel Clase Jr. as far as with a 100+ mile an hour cutter, and those guys just really haven't been it for him. So yeah, I could totally see Diaz going to the Yankees.
Yeah, either one, the Dodgers or the Yankees. And then up next we got Pete Alonso, formerly with the Mets. He said, pretty much as soon as the season was over, he was opting out. Top 10 spots for Pete Alonso: the Yankees, the Mets, the Rangers, the Padres, the Mariners, the Diamondbacks, the Nationals, the Red Sox, the Cubs, or the Phillies. I'll go first on this one. I could, for some reason, Seattle keeps jumping out at me.
Yeah.
Or even maybe the Diamondbacks. I'm going to go with Seattle.
Okay.
Maybe
that'd be a great pickup for Seattle.
Play first.
I will say Seattle is a tough place to hit. But I'm going to go in the same division with a team that has been known to spend money. They've got some good pitching already. They still need some offense. I think he's going to go to Texas. He's going to go to Texas because you get
Ooh,
out of New York, you get
I
out of the
like
spotlight. The ball flies in Texas, and
yeah.
he can just go over there and worry about hitting home runs, and does not have to worry about the New York media at all, whether it's the Mets media or the Yankees media. I think he'll be a Texas Ranger.
Him and Corey Seager in the same dugout. That
Corey
could be tough.
Seager, Simeon, Wyatt Langford, all of them, dude. It would be, it'd be a good lineup. And those guys, I want to say Seager and Simeon, and I think they even missed a lot of the second half of the season because of injuries, and they almost made the playoffs. So yeah, you throw Pete Alonso in that lineup, and
Yeah,
yeah, who knows?
I'm with you. And then one more thing. We'll end with this because I saw this. I wanted to bring it up to talk about. This came out through MLB Deadline News on X. The Pirates won't even listen to trade proposals for starting pitcher Paul Skeens, so don't bother calling, per Bob Nightingale.
Oh yeah, that don't surprise me.
I feel for the guy. I saw a
He's
crazy stat earlier, or a couple of weeks ago. He's got like the best he's got the best stats for a starting pitcher, but his win loss is just ridiculous. He has no infield or even really an outfield much behind him. To have the stats that he has as a starting pitcher and to still lose the amount of games that he started, it's almost maddening.
Oh, it's similar. What you're saying right there is very similar to, I believe it was. Let me find the season. There was a season. Who was it? Yeah, Felix Hernandez. His Cy Young season with the Mariners, he was 13-12. 13-12. They didn't sniff the playoffs that year, but yeah, it's similar to that. But yeah, Paul Skeens is in baseball purgatory right now because, yeah, you got to be the number one draft pick, but you got drafted to the freaking Pittsburgh Pirates, who, if the Pirates wasn't in the NL Central, I would be a Pirates fan. I would root for the Pirates. It just sucks because their ownership does not want to spend money. If they went out and got a guy like, could you imagine if they went out and got a guy like Pete Alonso in that lineup hitting you 40 home runs in that ballpark? Because Pittsburgh is if you've never been in that ballpark, is beautiful. The backdrop is beautiful. And everything like that. But yeah, I'm not surprised that they will not even think about that because Paul Skeens is their moneymaker. They could do a Paul Skeens bobblehead night every night he starts, and they'll freaking sell out the stadium. And they know it. They know it every fifth start. That's when they're going to make their money. And they've got that. They've got with him for what, the next 5 years at least. So that's, as far as a trade with Paul Skeens, they won't even sniff that until probably his last season, because they know no matter what they trade for, it's not going to fill the stadium like Paul Skeens is going to, even though he only plays once every 5 days.
Right.
But
I mean, a
sad to see.
0.95 whip his sophomore year. I mean, I think he was pretty much exempt from the sophomore slump.
Probably going to win the Cy Young this year too. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, when he had some games that were a little bit questionable on his end, not, the players playing behind him, it's because he was working on some things. I think he was kind of working more on getting infield hits so you can get some double play outs, keeping the ball low on the ground on the infield, just trying some different things, some different pitches. But, I mean, still, he finished the season with a 0.95 whip, 187 innings pitched, a 1.97 ERA. So, I mean, you can't beat that. Can't ask for more than that.
No, you can't. And don't get me wrong, I would love for our team to go after him. It's just he's not going anywhere for a while, and it sucks. Really sucks to see.
I watched him make his second starting pitching appearance in the MLB.
Oh, that's right, you did, yeah.
Yeah, it was his first time pitching and playing at Wrigley Field, and I remember I was sitting around third base side.
Didn't he take a no-no? Didn't he take a no-no into like the 5th or 6th inning or something?
Yeah, he had 8 Ks that day. It was very Kerry Wood-esque, and not in a good way if you're a Cubs fan.
Yeah,
but yeah, we'll see what happens, and again, we'll be right here with you guys pumping out some baseball content for you right here on Dugout Dispatch during this off season, talking about everything that's going on. But thank you guys again for tuning in. Stay tuned as we get you some more baseball content out. Pledging to put a new episode out every week if we can. So y'all just stay with us, and thank you guys again for liking, subscribing, commenting, all that good stuff. And we're going to start getting to some comments on some of the episode or some of the clips that we drop throughout social media. Make sure you guys follow us there on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, all that. Get some of your guys' comments up, and we'll talk about some of that. But that's going to be a wrap for us. We're going to get out of here. Thank you guys again for tuning in to the Dugout Dispatch. Tyler Edmonds, everybody. I'm Steve Jewell, and we'll see you on the next one.
Later.